Go live. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Sophie's Teaching. And in today's video, it's a little bit late. I would like to explain a couple of things about field practice for early childhood training teachers, and also we call them pre-service teachers. And there are so many different ways to explain. And in today's video, I would like to explain a couple of things related to this experience for training teachers. And especially for the first time, this could be really stressful for them to get into, since like the early childhood center could be the first time for them to visit, and all the paperwork need to be done from the very beginning, kind of like from the scratch to build up. So there are a couple of things I would like to cover today. If you have any questions, remember to pop in and leave a message for me. So all right, the first thing I think I would like to talk about, what do you need to know about field practice. And like for when I trained with the New Zealand Tertiary College, and I was supposed to do I was supposed to do 3 big field practice. Each one lasted for 5 or 4 weeks. So this is the reason first I put a date and a time. You need to know when you are supposed to do this, and when you are supposed to do it, and what time. And next one will be the center, which center you would like to practice with, and the school will try to actively approach to the center and ask whether they would like to take student in. And it's all you could play a really active role in finding the like a perfect center for you, such as one that nearby your house, or the one you feel quite interested in because of their philosophy, or because of their like the teachers or the other ritual consideration. You can give your school your preference centers, but not guaranteed. And the third one, I think, is the most important one, the associate teacher. For like a fully registered teacher, this could means they got a mentor. Even like no matter you are under training or you are fully registered, you always need a teacher or mentor to support your teaching practice. This is kind of like the apprentice system. You work beside and or alongside that teacher, or more experienced teacher, which will give you more information, or more like practical information or skills about what this learning, what this early childhood teaching job really looks like. And don't forget the most important person, visiting lecture. Here I explain over here. And the visiting lecture is the person who is going to visit you, or based because of COVID, this could be the teacher who's going to have a Zoom meeting with you and your associate teacher, and talk about your learning outcomes, and his or her expectations, and the standard of passing this field practice. So that's the teacher you really need to connect actively with your school or college. And next one, I put learning outcomes. So there were like I think there were 12 or 10 learning outcomes for me to finish in within 3 field practice, which means each one, or 15, sorry, each one was supposed to be like each time I was supposed to do 5 field practice learning outcomes. And this learning outcome all start from like a basic or general topic, and then to a little bit further, more core core part of this job, and then to the little bit further to the research, or even a little bit higher level, or management role, or teaching reflective those jobs. And here comes the most important part, like paperwork. So no matter what you are going to do in this field practice, you all at the end will end up like put them into a written form. And this is the reason why I prepare a folder for yourself. Either this kind like the folder you can turn the page, and then save all this evidence for yourself. And because when you do field practice, it's actually, it basically or literally, it's just like the teaching practice. It's just for under training teachers to kind like to develop those habits of how you do your planning, and how you do this reflection, and show your professional teaching abilities. So I think prepare a folder it's better than you just have one flares here, another paper over there. So really strongly recommended you to get a folder. Any kind like folder thing works for you. And here, next slide comes to our early childhood centers. So I titled with all about early childhood centers, as because this one could a little bit overcoming. So here comes the better version. And for early childhood centers, because this is the kind like the place you are going to bring all your knowledge and the skills to, and the practice. It's kind like really a really important part of your field practice. So here I list a couple of things that matters a lot, especially when you work in this environment. Here comes of course, the centers like teaching philosophy, and the centers expectations towards students, teachers will always come first. Because if you are personally really interested in Montessori, probably you assign to like a center that do Reggio or the other philosophies, you may feel like really struggle to fit in. So I suggest you to be open-minded, and then learn to accept this teaching philosophy and mix with yours. It's not always like all right, but you also need to, you should be criticized, and also means you also need to be open-minded and inclusive while you're learning about this centers, this kind like philosophy, values, and their missions, and their expectations towards the student, the teachers. Yeah, of course, the basic part is you are supposed to introduce yourself to the teachers and children and families, or any person who visits the center. Yeah, because communication and these greetings and all kind of like help you build, like help others build an image of you and get to know you more better. And so yeah, that's kind of like the basic, the foundation for your relationship. So next, I think these three parts are the most important parts, that like you're gonna choose a stage to work with, like nursery, toddler, or preschool. So you are supposed to know the room daily routines, and how they are going to set up these routines, and like lots of details. And it may take like a couple of days or even a whole week to get familiar with. And so the first week always gonna be, you're gonna be bombarded with lots of information. Don't feel scared, and just if you are like have a habit of writing, jogging it down, that'll be great. So in case you are overwhelmed with all this information. And I also sometimes I always recommend my student teachers to get familiar with the resources and this learning space. That means they will be aware of what could be used or applied to their teaching practice. Because field practice may only last for no more than 6 weeks. So within such a short period of time, you are supposed to do lots of jobs. So how to do it one by one and in a really well organized way. So make full use of your first week to get familiar with this. And next one, children, your target is kind of like all the reasons why we are all be here. So for children's belongings, they're including their bags and water bottle, lunchbox. Do they have any allergy? Do they have any special needs? And what's their learning interest into dinosaur or into hands-on experience or into Legos? What's the learning interest and learning outcomes behind it you are supposed to build up within 2 weeks. So this will help you to keep going with your planning for the next stage. So your observation will go through the whole first and the second week. Of course, it's all the time. Your observation will be updated through the time you spend with the children and the other adults around them. But you also you are supposed to get this done for the first 2 weeks. Yeah, otherwise it's gonna be really stressful and limited time left for you to do paperwork. And of course, you can see I put the parents' expectations and aspiration at the bottom because I know, and all this the reason why we have children here, why we set up these routines. We are all the parents' expectations will be considered, will be given account of. Because without the parents' support or understandings, we won't be able to look after the kids, and then we won't have the enough ritual or financial foundation to get these resources and to set up our routines. So early childhood is still like the other business. We totally should include them into our program. And yeah, I especially found those especially the big group, how to say that, yeah, those chain early childhood centers or brand. And here we go. When we know all about this, before you jump in doing it, I wrote this down for my student teachers, which was used by my center as well. So we suggested to write it down as a student teacher agreement. I thought that that's just a letter I showed to my student, but it turned out could be really useful and practical for the other student teachers. So here there are 3 slides to explain, and there are lots of information. Take your time and screenshot it and read it slowly. So I highlighted the main parts that I would like, the main information I would like to pass to the student teacher in the first week. First is about our attitude. We are supposed to be kind and respectful to everyone, and this is kind of like the this will help you to build a really positive relationship with the people all involved in this center or even in your college. So I put it at the very beginning. And the next one, I personally value the professional teaching practice. I think that's the reason why the student, the teacher come over here and practice their their teaching skills. Otherwise, we won't have any you know you otherwise your like teaching practice won't be stretched that long, and you won't even provide really engaging and interesting and educational teaching practice to the children. So I highly value this one, these two. And next one, like I always mention in my videos, and I even have a like streaming video about why relationship is so important in our early childhood teaching environment. And this could goes to every part of your life. So relationship and communication, and will help you solve most of the problems. And here we go. And we are in New Zealand, this which is such a like a country with like migrants from all around the world. And that means we are supposed to be inclusive and be equal, and be how to say, be appreciative to this cultural heritage and the languages and customers. That means we are supposed to role model inclusiveness and multilingual to the kids. So that here I wrote it down. You can speak occasionally you can speak these children's mother tongue or the other languages. We role model this to kids. We encourage them to speak their native languages, but we're also supposed to use English because you are supposed to support both of them. That is, the main languages will be used not only in early childhood but also in primary school and even further learning experience and adventures. So you could remember this one. And when it comes to this, I have a huge how to say, I there were a tons of like conflicts about how to do this properly. And I think the best document you can refer to is Tifaliki. See what Tifaliki says about this multilingual or inclusive teaching practice. And then you will have the grounds of doing it. And then yeah, I think if you are really confident and capable of doing this, your colleague or the other parents or your management will respect your choice. And this could be tricky. And last two will be look after ourselves own well-beings. It's also really important, which means the topics you're going to share with your colleagues, and then the topics you are going to mention during those break time, and will be really how to say, should also be considered. As I saw lots of student the teacher managed to seize the break time and talk about like the teaching practice with like teachers in the staff room, which is not really polite and considerate based on what we have been gone through for last 2 hours. That's really like labor intensive and also mentally like exhausting work. So we should give each other enough space and time and environment to relax ourselves. Only when you look after yourself, and then you will feel pumped up more energy and passion to look after and shape young minds. So, and that's the one we always really easy to forget about. I do remind student and teacher be considerate about that, especially in New Zealand culture context. it's not about like whether you are diligent or hardworking. It's about to respect each other's time and space. The last part will be the highlight parts of our job. Reflect what you have been doing and be inquisitive about your teaching capabilities by referring to the literatures and how to say, through the group discussion in your university or college, and then try to seek different opinions about one like certain questions or question that you're or area that you are really curious about, and then try to seek for the professional advice from your associate teacher or the other colleagues or people you can see in this field. Because this reminds me a couple of times, if a student the teacher always ask questions, which means this could this may make the associate teacher and the other teachers sacrifice their time to deal with the student and to deal with like children, which means you can't like break up their continuous conversation or attention, which is really rude. And I feel like these are the factors all kind of like lead to the reciprocal and positive relationship with the team, with the people who involved in this learning space. So just for your reference, and read through them, and yeah, be considerate about your jump in time into this learning environment. Just suggest just some suggestions. And fourth one, I would like to mention about your associate teacher. I have been working with 2 or 3 student teachers already, and I would like the student teacher be active, play an active role in kind of like practicing their skills as a full-time teacher, which means they share themselves with me and communicate about their learning outcomes and seek for my guidance or cooperation. So in this way, we both could contribute to this field practice adventures for this student. And the most important part could be the planning, how you will make full use, drag in all the resources, and hold yourself back at a free play time, how to observe the kids and how to notice their learning interest, respond by like recognize by linking to Tifaliki and the other professional documents, and also respond means how well you plan some teaching learning experience to support children's learning goals or learning outcomes. And last part will be your reflection. How would you reflect your this teaching experience, such as what have you done, and what have you been missing, and how it works for this environment, and what's the other teachers feedbacks to you, children's voices and parents' voices. Yeah, so this could be like updating the paperwork in time, and give us enough space to see any space for improvement. And the last one will be the documentation. Here comes a couple of things, and in this folder, and wow, 5 years passed, but I still keep this because that was really special to me. And yeah, as you can see, here's the like a couple of forms, especially this one, kind of like a parental consent form, and the AT reflection form, and the learning outcomes. Yeah, that's the learning outcomes I mentioned. How will you do this kind of like things, and also your timesheets, because you need the signature, kind of like the signature from your associate teacher, and just sort out these things. Like I said, you could put just into this kind of like folder, chuck in, or the one with leaf in this part, or yeah, any kind of like thing that suits you. Sort it out, make it more or in an organized way, or sometimes mark the like the date. Yeah, this will be really helpful for your next 2 years, 2 or 3 years of full registration teaching practice. I remember a couple of years ago, the New Zealand Education Council still require new, like how to say, provisionally registered teachers send this like folder things to them. But now this is like a more your mentor teacher help you review all this information or documentation, and just a side paper. Yeah, but they still like have the, I mean, the city and the education council still have the right to request to see and view these folders. That's the situation and the scenario in New Zealand. I'm not sure about Australia. So you do have these questions, welcome to check their website and then all the requirements. It's always good for you to know what's their expectation, and then so you know how to prepare for them, right? And the last one, here comes the tips. What I'm going to say is, you know, how will you make this experience so fun and so enjoyable and so smooth for your, like so positive to yourself. And I think there are three things, these three words may give you a little bit of guidance. When we talk about think about this, the reason why you do field practice, what's your mission? You're supposed to support children's learning, and by building up really good relationship with them, and second, finish your learning outcomes. So both learning outcome you are supposed to meet, right? And your vision will be, I would like to fulfill this learning outcomes. And then what's your value? I probably value inclusiveness. I value positive and reciprocal relationship while working with children or people are involved in this learning center. Or I value like professional teaching practice. It's this value kind of like sometimes make me believe that's kind of like those my teaching philosophy or student teacher agreement. This is kind of like the things I put in, but you could have your own way, your own teaching philosophy. This all helps us to, how to say, it gives us a reason for doing this properly, and based on, and also determines how much effort and passion we're gonna put in make this happen. And here's the order, like a little bit simple information or really basic information I would like to pass on through this video to the new early childhood training teachers. So wish you guys good luck, and practice makes it perfect. And first time you may feel really new, second time you gotta get familiar with the things, and the third you build up more knowledge, and the fourth you gonna be the perfect, the pro. And yeah, trust yourself like the way you trust children. So wish you good luck. And thank you for watching my videos, and I will keep updating more cool videos and really meaningful and educational field practice or like professional courses and the other like teaching tips with you guys. Just looking forward to watching more of my videos, and I will see you next time. Have a lovely night. See you. Bye bye.